How you going, guys? Michael Armstrong here, returning for yet another cooking lesson for Central Coast Leagues Club. And today what we're cooking up for our good friends at Coast Shelter, we're doing one of my favourite soups, hearty minestrone. So basically as we go through the dish, I'll give you some hints and tips, a couple of knife tips, some chopping board terminology, and we'll get cracking and see what we can come up with. As I said, it's a great dish. It's one of those dishes that you can make well in advance. You can freeze it, you can make it the day before. It's probably better the day before because the flavours will actually marry and it'll be a lot nicer to eat. So all the prep's done. Today's ingredients, we've got some garlic, diced onion, diced red capsicum, diced green capsicum. We've got some bacon, which is diced up, some diced eggplant, diced zucchini, some fresh picked thyme from my garden at home, some dried oregano, some freshly chopped parsley from the garden at home. We've also got some penne pasta, some sliced mushrooms, some tin cannellini beans, and crushed tomato. And we might also add a little bit of chicken stock if the soup is too thick. But let's get cooking. So as you can see, guys, all the mise en place is ready to go. We've got our burner out the front. We've taken over the front of the restaurant today because, as you all know, we're still in COVID lockdown. We don't have any customers because we're not allowed to open. So we're doing the right thing by our customers and our guests. And I've taken over the front area because there's nobody else in the club. And I'm fortunate enough having my second vaccination that I can come in and cook for our friends at Coast Shelter and make a difference for some people's lives. So we'll get our little stovetop cooking on. So the flame's on now. What we'll start off with is a medium heat. We don't want it too hot. As we've used before and I've explained, we'll go with a nice thick base stainless steel pan. It's just better heat for caramelisation of the product that you're going to be cooking. And we'll start off today with a little bit of olive oil. Extra virgin's fine. You don't want to get it too hot because the oil will burn. Just grab a little tea towel. Okay, so while that's heating up, we've got our wooden spoon ready to go. The first thing that we're going to put in today, as with most dishes, you start off with the garlic. So we'll add the garlic in and we'll sweat that down and start to colour it. So once that starts to sizzle, starts to get a little bit of colour, you can smell all the flavours releasing. The next ingredient we're going to add in is our diced Spanish onion, and we'll do the same for that. Just cook it until it starts to wilt down. Obviously the same rule applies as every other dish we've cooked so far. Hardest ingredients first because they take the longest to cook. And we're really concentrating today on the flavour of the dish because it is a soup, it is a lovely dish to make, and it's one of my favourites. So we'll keep cooking. So then now that we've got some nice good colour in there, what we're going to add next is we're going to add our diced bacon. Now the diced bacon is optional. If you're a vegetarian like me and you don't eat bacon, you can make it without it. If you eat meat, add it in and it's a great flavour enhancer. But as I said to myself, being a vegetarian, I leave it out. You can use normal bacon, you could use ham, you could put chicken in it, you could use some speck, some kessler, some, depending on what you've got, depending on how much you want to spend on your meal. But today we're just going to use some diced bacon. I'm going to cook that down till it colours up, just like we did with the onions. As you can see, colours are forming in there. Bacon's frying up, some of the fats are entering out of the bacon, which will add to the flavour. So what we're going to add in next, we're going to add in our red capsicum, that we diced up earlier, our green capsicum. We're going to continue cooking it down. You can see all that colour in the centre. Not really thick, not burning, just the caramelisation. Let's add a little bit of vegetable stock or fish stock, or not fish stock. One little trick, add some stock in, and as you can see, all of that caramelisation is scrape up off the bottom, which all becomes part of the flavour. We'll cook that down now till the liquid's gone, and you continue adding the ingredients. So as I said before, all the colour is cooked off the bottom of the pan. The liquid's come back out. The capsicums have started to soften down. So the next what we're going to add, we put the mushrooms in. And just continue to work that on in the pan over the top of the heat. Adjust your temperature if it's too hot or too cold. It's probably not a good one for the kids to be doing because there is a lot of cooking in there. And as I said, as we saw before, there's a lot of chopping as well. So they can help out with serving it. They can cook the toast, that sort of thing. Or they can wash up. So we'll add the eggplant and we'll add the zucchini. Give that a little tap. Cleaning up as we go. And then we'll continue to get some heat into that. While that's cooking down, we will add our dried oregano and we'll add our thyme. Now this time straight from my garden. My partner and I, at the start of lockdown, we started gardening. Blackest thumbs in the world, but we thought we'd give it a crack. And we've got thyme, we've got basil, Thai basil, mint, parsley, chives. A little bit of effort saves you a lot of money in the long run, and they're always there, so you don't have to buy a bunch of hydroponic stuff from Coles that will die in 2 days. Pick what you need and you keep on going. So there's my thyme into the dish. A little bit of YE goes in everything. And we'll continue to cook that down and bring the flavours out. So all we've got left on that tray is the chopped parsley. We'll take that off, we'll get rid of this. And we'll just keep on watching this, moving it around to stop it from burning. So that's cooked down nicely now. The vegetables are all softened. There's no sticky spots on the base. All the colour and the flavours come out of the bacon. So what we're going to do next is we're going to add our cannellini beans that we strained. Now you don't have to use cannellini beans. You can use dried ones. Soak them overnight. You can use a 5 bean mix, kidney beans. You can use a 4 bean mix, whatever you prefer. I'm basically just using these because this is something that we have here in the club. And in the essence of keeping costs down, there's no point buying something in when we've got something that we can use. So we've got those in there now. They don't need to saute or anything because they're already good to go. The next thing we'll add in is our crushed tomato. Which is the base of the soup, and we're going to add in equal quantities of chicken stock. Now you could use vegetable stock if you're a vegetarian like me, which is what I usually do. You wouldn't use beef stock obviously, but chicken stock is probably the best thing to match up with the bacon. It's not going to be overpowering, but it will give your dish a little bit of a pop, and it'll add some liquid in there as well. Because what we're going to do next is we're going to add some pasta. Now the pasta will soak up most of the moisture, so we might actually have to add some more chicken stock later depending on the consistency of the soup. So now we'll let this cook. You can cook it slowly in a slow cooker, and you can put it at the back of the stove and cook it. The longer you cook it for, the veggies will soften right up. You don't want to move it around too much once it's simmering. You could put some bay leaves in there to put some more flavour, a bunch of thyme, and basically all we're going to do to it from here, we'll add our pasta in. Now most minestrone soups use has got pasta in it. Today we're using penne simply because, as for cannellini beans, it's what I had downstairs. Macaroni is also good, makes it easier. If you're going to use something like spaghetti, it's probably best to snap it up into little pieces, but you cook it in the actual soup. So the pasta, being a farinaceous item, will absorb 3 times its own weight in liquid. So if there's a litre of soup, you need to put in 300 grams of, if you put 300 grams of pasta in, it'll soak it all up. Hence why we might need to add some more chicken stock. So that's ready to go. We might just give it a little bit of a season. Some sea salt. Goes. So while we're waiting for our soup to cook, all the flavours to develop and cook out, what we're going to do is make a little bit of garnish. So to garnish the minestrone, Parmesan cheese is always good. We could just sprinkle it on top, but what we're going to do is we're going to take some of this shaved grana padano, which is like Parmesan cheese, but it's just not as strong in flavour. We've got a baking tray on the bench. Lightly spray it with some canola spray, which is what we're going to use to stick the baking paper onto the tray. So stick the paper down and see how it clings nicely to the tray, won't move around. And then we'll give it another light spray on top. And then it's just a matter of spreading the cheese, making sure it all touches over the tray like so. We're going to put that in the oven, melt it down, and what will happen is the moisture will cook out of it. It'll colour up slightly and dry out, and we'll be able to break it into pieces and sprinkle it on top of our soup. To the oven. So as you can see, guys, pasta's now cooked. It's starting to break, so that's a perfect way to tell that it's cooked. It has reduced in liquid a lot, so I'm going to put a little bit more chicken stock in there just to adjust it, make it a souping consistency. You want it nice and soupy, you want to be able to dip your bread in it and so forth. So that's pretty good. We'll add a bit more of the herb. We'll keep a little bit for our garnish. And let's get ready to plate up. So as you know guys, I am the only one here, we're not actually open, so I could not be bothered turning on the big char grill. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to toast my sourdough in one of these little griddle pans. So we'll just get it hot. It has been sprayed out with some canola spray. So what I've got here guys, I've got some more extra virgin olive oil. I've put some crushed garlic in there, a little bit of salt and pepper, and I've stolen Brody's pastry brush, and what we're going to do, we've got some beautiful sourdough here, and we're just going to give it a liberal brush with the garlic oil. Instead of using butter, it's a little bit healthier, and it's probably got more flavour as well. Brush it all over, all the way to the edges. It will soak up a little bit of the oil, which is fine. And you can swap it over and do the same on the back side. As you can see guys, the pan's starting to smoke. You don't want to have it too hot, obviously you don't want the bread to burn. Place the bread in the pan, just use a pair of tongs so you don't burn yourself. Not a good one for the kids to do. You might just want to serve it with some standard garlic bread you can buy at Coles. You might want to serve it with a bread roll, some crackers, whatever you like. So we've got that in the pan. Just keep it flat so that it cooks evenly, and then wait a few minutes and we'll give it a turn and toast the other side. We'll give that a turn, as you can see. Nice little quadrillage on the bread there, which just means that it's a crisscross pattern. Adjust the heat and toast the other side. Get ready to serve up. So here we have the Parmesan cheese, or the grana padano, taking it out of the oven. As you can see, it's all melted together and made one nice big piece. So what we're going to do is just delicately snap it up a little bit like this. Now you don't have to do this, you can just put normal cheese in there. We're just doing it like this for a little bit of crunch and a little bit more flavour. Time to plate up. Okay, just before we put it in the bowl guys, we'll check the seasoning again. Nice clean spoon. I think it just needs a little bit more salt. Don't forget the Parmesan cheese you're going to put into it is quite salty, so go easy on that. Another crack of pepper, just to freshen the flavour up. Stir that through, and we're done. Now time to plate up guys. So what we'll do here, guys, is we've got the bowl here which we've heated up. Spoon the soup straight into the bowl. So get the bulk of the ingredients and then add a little bit of the runny liquid. Place it onto a plate to serve. Just move this to the side a little bit. Okay. And we've got our nicely toasted sourdough, which we're going to serve on the side. So you can dip, kids can dip it in however they like. And the Parmesan, we're just going to sit that right in the centre. Now some of the garlic oil that we've got left over, dribble that on top for a little bit of popping flavour. And then the parsley that you saved before, sprinkle that on top for garnish. So there we have it, guys. Minestrone soup my way. You can change it around as much as you like. Cook it to your likings, cook it to your kids' likings. We've got some toasted sourdough with garlic and extra virgin olive oil and parmesan cheese. Enjoy, guys.